Where are you?
I'm down here.
What are you doing down there?
Taking pictures of the stars.
What stars?
Well, you know, if you look at the ceiling up there, you kind of see the stars twinkling in the ceiling, kind of thing.
But isn't your camera cover on?
Oh, yeah. Don't worry about that. Let's just roll the intro. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 7 of Therapeutic Tech Talk. Today we're taking a look at the Nikon D3400, an entry-level DSLR. So what we got in front of us here is an entry-level DSLR. We have the Nikon D3400 and it comes with a lens as well. Right down here is the 18 to 55 millimeter lens. And other than that, I don't think there's anything else too interesting on the box here. It's Bluetooth compatible. Oh, it's running Android, or it's for Android, I guess I should say. And you can use it with various Apple products. Probably it has an HDMI port, SD card, and Photo Nation, I'm assuming, is Nikon's dedicated app. But other than that, it's nothing too special on the box. So once we open this guy up, we have some service and warranty sheets. Sorry for the noise there. We have the manual. Gotta look through this because I have no idea how to use a DSLR. And if we take off that top layer there, I'll just move it aside. And bubble wrap is the lens, I'm assuming. Yep, it's the lens in here. So, gotta be careful this guy because lenses are very expensive. And I have no idea if this is a good lens or a bad lens, but it is the one that it comes with. So there you are. Just set that aside for now. And I'll reach in over here and grab. Okay, so this is obviously the charger. I'm assuming there's a dedicated battery pack, and yes, there is. So this is the charger for that. Nothing too special. And we have our strap for the camera itself. Nikon branding. Not too bad. It's a nylon strap. And that's about that. Lastly, if I can reach over here, is the DSLR itself. And there's nothing else in the box. So, this is the last thing it comes with. Bubble wrap, of course, because, well, we need to protect this. What is this? Snap Bridge? Download app to get started. So this is their dedicated app that you can use on your smartphone to transfer photos and such. Alright. The moment you all been waiting for. Oh yeah. There it is. This is the Nikon D3400. Take a look at the front there. And on the back as well. You can see my reflection there. Hello. So that's about it. So what are the main things that we get here? Camera, lens, battery charger, and our Nikon strap. And that's it. So I'll take this guy outside, I'll set it up, and we'll take some nice photos, I guess. I am by no means an expert photographer in any way. This is actually the first DSLR that I've ever owned, but let's go through this together. So what comes standard in the box is the Nikon's lens that they provide. It's an 18 to 55 millimeter lens. And to extend it outwards, there's a button right here. And if you hold it while you twist, the lens extends forward so you can begin taking in photos. On the top here, we have the on and off button, the video record, info, and exposure change. We have a dial here of a bunch of different scene modes that you can put the camera into. On the front, we have the flash, which pops up right up there. We also have a function button as well. On the side here, yes, the camera does support Bluetooth through the Nikon Smart Bridge app, which connects to your smartphone, but I don't recommend that just because it's really finicky and I can't ever get reliable connection between the camera and my smartphone. What I do recommend is using its micro USB port and just connecting it to your computer, and that'll probably be a better way for you to transfer photos. They also include here, what is this? Looks like an HDMI port, so you can connect to any display on your computer, I suppose. On the camera right here, we also have auto exposure lock and auto focus lock as well. So this allows you to lock the exposure and focus, of course, when you're taking photos. You have a playback button, so to go through your library of photos. Menu button brings up the menu. We'll go through that a little bit later as well. Oops. We also have the zoom in and zoom out. And we also conveniently have an info button. So you ever want to change settings, so like you see all the settings down here, you can quickly do that using the info button down here. On the other side, we have different scene modes, or release modes, I guess Nikon calls it. And you switch between different ones as well down here, but I haven't really used that. We have a D-pad here, up, down, left, right, OK, / enter. And we have a trash bin button as well, where you'll delete any photos that you don't want. So there are two main modes that you'll find yourself most often using. One of them is fully auto mode. So right here, auto. This is where the camera basically takes control of every aspect of the photo, from the ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. The camera would control all of that. You can imagine it's kind of like taking a photo using your smartphone, when all you have to do is open the camera app and shoot the photo, and the camera will take care of all the processing. And that's in a sense of what auto mode is on a DSLR as well. So if we were to take an image of this plant, for example, all we have to do is simply just point and shoot. It's not much to it. And right here, you just heard the flash pop up. That's because the camera thinks that the current lighting situation is too dark, so it activated the flash. And like I mentioned before, all we had to do is point, change it to a little live viewfinder so you can see what I'm seeing. Point and shoot, so the flash go off as well. A problem immediately you can see just from the photo itself is that when you take a photo, the lens right here, and you see where the flash is, you can see it makes a shadow, and that's definitely a downside of having a flash on a camera like this. You can see clearly where the lens is, and it's obstructing the image, which is unfortunate. Okay, so just quickly go through the other modes of the camera. If you take note of this icon up here, so right now you see we're in auto. If we change the dial, we have no flash. I believe this is a beauty mode of sorts. Landscape, child, sports or action, macro, portrait, and effects, which kind of makes everything look a little bit cartoony. I've never used that in my opinion. The second mode that you'll find yourself using is the manual mode. So M stands for manual, where you'll be able to control everything from the here, shutter speed, aperture, and ISO. We also have aperture priority mode, shutter priority. I'm not quite sure what P is. But yeah, so let's take a quick look at manual mode itself. So over here on the left hand side, we have the shutter speed. So you can imagine trying to freeze a frame. If you have somebody running, for example, and you want to capture that, you want to have a high shutter speed. So you see we're increasing the shutter speed here. That's because you can freeze that motion. So essentially camera's taking photos faster, 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 and freezing each frame. But when you do that, you see that, here, let me make this more manageable. You see, as you decrease the shutter speed, you increase the exposure of the image. But when you increase the shutter speed, the image becomes more underexposed. Next, we have the aperture. So right now we're at f3.5, and you see that's the amount of light that the camera allows inside. So you imagine f3.5 being that. But when we adjust it to f5.6, for example, the amount of light entering becomes less. And you see now the image is clearly underexposed. So lastly, we have ISO. You can imagine this as artificial light. So if you're in a dark room, for example, and you want to make the image appear brighter, you can increase the ISO. To do it on the camera, all you have to do is hold the function button, and using the dial right here, you can adjust ISO. So a higher ISO would make the image appear brighter, but it also introduces noise into the image, and you lose clarity. If you click the I button here, we can quickly go change the focus, how the camera focuses. Right now it's on auto, but we can switch that to manual focus. So that you can use the dial right here to adjust the focus of the image itself. So if I go into the live viewfinder, I'm not sure how well it comes up, but right now the image is in focus. And now it's out of focus because I'm adjusting the dial. So let me get it back in focus, just like that. Right about there. And right now you can see right down here that the image is clearly underexposed. So what I'm going to do is decrease the shutter speed to allow more light to enter the camera. And right now you see it's about balanced, a little bit underexposed, so I can keep going. A little more. We're at 1/80 right now, and that's allowing more light into the camera. And if I shoot the photo. So this is the image we took on auto mode with the flash. And this is the image we took in manual mode. You can clearly see the difference there. Because right now we're selecting that the image right here in the middle is in focus manually. Alternatively, what's nice about manual mode as well, for example, we don't want this plant in focus, but in fact we want the charging stand back there to be what's in focus. We can do that as well. So using the D-pad down here, we adjust what we have in focus. So let me just line it up to the charging stand back there, and I'll manually adjust the dial. We selectively had the charger in the background in focus, and the foreground image of the plant is blurred out and not in focus. So that's what's so great about manual mode. You can choose what's in focus and what's not. You have full control over that. Well, we'll take a quick look at the menu. So there we are. Using the D-pad, we can go to different settings. Kind of just scroll through them and highlight some of the more important ones. This is where it allows you to use the SnapBridge app to send photos from the camera to your smartphone. Again, as like I mentioned before, it's a bit buggy. I would recommend you just to plug it into your computer when transferring your images. Shooting menu, so image quality. It does support RAW, so if you're into that and want to edit the image afterwards, you can change it to RAW. But right now I just have it as a JPEG and kind of letting the camera process the image for me, because I want to be editing that in Photoshop or anything like that. ISO, you can change that as well. Auto ISO. Let's go back. White balance, I have it set on auto. Active D-lighting, this is kind of, if you have D-lighting on, it kind of just highlights the highlights of the photo or the shadows of the photos more compared to when you turn it off. Noise reduction. Nothing not too interesting there. Setup menu, if you want to format the SD card and wipe all the photos on there. Date stamp if you want to show the date on the photos. Nothing too interesting here, I don't think. There's a timer as well that you can set. And the camera itself does allow you to do some editing within the software they have here. So you want to resize the image, trim the image, correct red eye. You can do that all in here as well. Lastly, again, we connect to a smart device or your smartphone. And that's about it. Nothing too interesting in the setting menu here. If you do have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll surely get back to you on that. If you want to know more about either the camera itself or the settings or any questions in general. At the end of the day, would I recommend the Nikon D3400? I think so, yes, definitely, especially for the price it comes in at. So I got this on sale at Best Buy for $500 Canadian. And I think that's in line with most entry-level DSLRs. If you're into photography or trying it out for the first time, I think this is a great starting point. You can get really nice images from this camera. And the manual mode was easy to understand. I never touched a DSLR before this, but I picked it up pretty quickly, I think. And I can shoot in manual mode now, which is really nice and just handy to have. It's a nice skill to develop. By no means am I a professional photographer in that sense. I am still an amateur, definitely. But from the images you've seen in this quick YouTube video, looking at the camera itself, I think you can see a drastic difference between what a DSLR can take compared to what a smartphone can take. Hint, hint. So stay tuned to a future video where I'll actually be comparing the image quality found on a DSLR, the Nikon D3400, versus the iPhone 10. Until then, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, like this video, subscribe if you haven't, and you can also find me on Twitter as well at Therapy Tech Talk. So until next time, see ya.